All right, I'm live. I haven't done one of these alone. Very happy to. I got through about 5 minutes of this video I'm about to show you, and I couldn't help but just want to start my own show. First episode of Let Me Tell You Something. I cannot believe what's going on here in the FBI and to these four gentlemen. We have four gentlemen who have put their lives on the line working for the FBI, started to become whistleblowers after January 6th, and all four of them are slowly getting their lives ruined. So I got my notes here on the side. Just want to show or tell you a little bit of what they're saying. So you may not have to watch the 30-minute video. Maybe you just watch this. But Garrett Boyle served in the U.S. Army. He was the first guy to speak. He went to the FBI in 2018, then later was accepted to FBI SWAT team. After they weaponized their own employees and everything to not necessarily help the American people, but go after the American people, he felt like he had to leave. So he left, or not left, I'm sorry. The FBI suspended him. He ended up with no pay, and now he's living on his own. Mr. Friend, before joining the FBI in 2014, served as a police officer. He's the second man. During his tenure at the FBI, he worked on human trafficking investigations and crimes against children. Despite receiving several performance awards, he faced retaliation after blowing the whistle in 2022. He allegedly pressured to resign and had his medical information leaked to a reporter at the New York Times. HIPAA completely leaked his medical information. Why? To go after him. The FBI turned against their own people, literally turned against their own people who put forth their whole life. All four of these men saying, we put our life on the line for the American people, and we still are. But look how we're being treated. So that's how, and somehow I just came across this. None of these news networks are going through this and talking about this. It's underground, and I don't know why. Probably because it's not as interesting as everyone else. I have no idea. But all four of these men have been treating so poorly, way worse than any LGBTQ person. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We'll go on to the next. Marcus Allen, as a staff operations specialist in FBI Charlotte office, brought 20 years of intelligence professional experience. Prior to joining the FBI, he served in the Marines, went to Kuwait, Iraq, Japan, received several awards. That's not the biggest deal for anyone in the military. We say several awards, whatever. I don't know what those awards are. I could look them up. I didn't, because I just saw this video and because it got me riled up. He's accused of having conspiratorial views regarding the events of January 16th. In response, files federal civil lawsuit and a whistleblower's complaint. Since then, he's been out of work. He's been suspended for a year, not kicked out of the FBI so he can move on, suspended for a year without pay, requested to have a second job, because that's what you have to do in the military, request to have a second job. I know many of my buddies that did it. One of my buddies working overnight at Walmart while working 7 to 5 during the day at his job in the military, just so that he could provide food on the table for his family, his kid, his newborn kid. Next, Tristan Levitt. This is who's on your screen right now. Tristan Levitt, as an attorney and president of Empower Oversight. Levitt has a substantial experience dealing whistleblower. And the main thing, as he's talking about right now, and I will play it a little bit because I haven't seen the rest of the video. There's about 4 minutes left. He's talking about how all other independent agencies in the government have a way to go about their whistleblowing. The DEA, when you whistleblow, you're protected. Everyone in these independent governments, just like the FBI, the individual intelligence, have a way to whistleblow, except for the FBI. So he's working on that. We'll just listen to a couple minutes.
Extensive process. But the laws prohibiting retaliation have been on the books that entire time. The FBI cannot claim now that these are new rights just because they now have to justify their actions before the MSPB. Time has demonstrated, in my opinion, that it was a mistake to exclude the FBI from the standard whistleblower protection process. It discourages integrity and encourages deceit and even corruption. Congress should treat the FBI the same as all other federal law enforcement agencies, eliminating a special exception and giving its employees access to OSC to investigate retaliation. The hardworking employees of the FBI deserve equal protection of the law. The FBI's latest troubling practice is suspending security clearance.
The workers deserve equal protection of the law. For some reason, we all have this idea that now that you are a part of the military, you are protected within the government and you're good to go. No, the military is the men and women in the military are the most abused people in the whole country. I don't care what you say, I don't care what you think. While also being the most misled. So you have the whole civilian population thinking that, we're all good to go. We all, we join the military, we're fine. No, this is the perfect example. The first man, Mr. Boyle, ended up relocating to after it was 2 weeks into his newborn's life. He relocated. When he got to his new destination, they suspended him without pay. They withheld his goods, and they ended up homeless. All four of these men, their lives are getting completely ruined by the government, while they're fighting for all of us to sit here and so I could still talk about this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's not bullshit, but I'm still being able to talk here to all of you because men like this are fighting, and now they're getting their backs turned on them. These aren't the only ones. These are the ones in front of the house speaking about it. This is a huge problem. This is why we have the suicide rate. Look at it. Biggest suicide rate. This is why we have homelessness amongst vets. You walk down the street down here in Florida and you'll find millions of homeless vets. It's ridiculous. And the list can go on.
Is to retaliate against whistleblowers. Mr. Friend and Mr. Allen, along with Mr. O'Boyle, are just several public examples of this trend. When the FBI suspends a clearance, it also immediately suspends the employee indefinitely, without pay. To make matters worse, it holds them and their families hostage by requiring them to get permission to take another job, permission the FBI routinely denies. Congress needs to ensure the FBI stops this abuse. In light of all these obstacles for FBI whistleblowers, you would think Congress would do everything that it could to welcome their disclosures here. But FBI employees coming to Congress have unfortunately been shamefully treated by Democrats on this committee. It's one thing to hear allegations and find them unpersuasive or even distasteful. An office can even ignore those allegations if they choose. That's their prerogative. But to go out and actively smear the individuals making disclosures is far worse. That's what the Democrats on this committee did when they released a March 2nd report entitled GOP Witnesses, What Their Disclosures Indicate About the State of the Republican Investigations. That report was inaccurate, both on the law and on the facts. The law doesn't define the term whistleblower. Instead, it protects from retaliation individuals who engage in protected activity. For over a century, simply making disclosures of any information to Congress has been a protected activity. Furthermore, an appropriations rider in effect at this time prohibits money from paying the salary of any federal employee who prohibits or prevents any other federal employee, such as FBI whistleblowers, from communicating with Congress. The Democrats' report denied whistleblower status.
Okay, I just realized this. I don't know who this lady is behind him, but how does she have a phone out while he's in the middle of testifying? What the hell is going on? She has not looked up once. Who is this lady? Pay attention.
To individuals engaged in the
What could
precise
she
activity
possibly
the
be doing?
legislative branch has considered protected since 1912. The report's reliance on evidence for whistleblower status is also misplaced. Simply communicating a reasonable belief of misconduct is protected whistleblower activity under the law. This applies regardless of whether the whistleblower produces evidence at that time backing up their allegations. Only protecting whistleblower disclosures accompanied by conclusive evidence, as the Democrats seem to require, would have disastrous consequences for retaliation throughout the federal government. My experience working for Congress was that whistleblowers brought allegations, and where the committees found those allegations worthy of further follow-up and congressional action, we conducted investigations. No one expects a private citizen to investigate a crime before going to the police. And we didn't expect a whistleblower to investigate their own agency. That's also essentially how the law for remedying retaliation through the MSPB is set up, where making a non-frivolous allegation leads to discovery, interviews, and more. Simply put, the burden isn't on the whistleblower to produce the evidence at the outset. That's why there's an investigative process. The Democrats' report also got the facts wrong. For example, they claim DOJ IG declined to investigate Mr. Friend's claim, when in fact, DOJ IG will be interviewing Mr. Friend tomorrow and has an ongoing investigation. DOJ IG says no one from the Democrat staff ever contacted their office to verify this claim before issuing their report. Inexcusably, a number of mainstream media sources simply repeated the Democrats' wrong information uncritically without bothering to check the facts for themselves, which is why there were multiple retractions.
If you just look at how this man is talking and speaking, you could tell how much this means to him. Body language is so huge, and you could tell he's memorized this whole speech. He knows what he's talking about, and he's so passionate about what he's talking about. You could just tell. Look at his face while he's talking.
FBI whistleblowers have traveled a hard road over the years. They should be treated by Congress the same as other whistleblowers. Issuing reports smearing those who come forward from the FBI will unquestionably deter others from taking that same path. Congress must have firsthand information about how federal agencies are operating to perform its constitutional duty of oversight. Why would future whistleblowers bring their disclosures to Congress if they think they might be treated like this? Attacking whistleblowers hurts this committee and others, the House of Representatives as an institution, and Congress as a whole.
You know, and that's exactly what Mr. Boyle said at the beginning. It creates something like this creates just such a big problem within the Army, and you see it all over the place. Is there's too many people not able to speak up about what they feel and what's actually happening. You could see it within the enlisted ranks, and I'm sure you could see it within the officer ranks. Something like this and what you see on the media all over the place, even just for the Army, creates an environment where no one feels comfortable speaking out. And that's when you go downhill really fast. So it's unbelievable what's happening right now to our armed services. It's tough to see because everyone joining, they're doing it for a bigger purpose. They're striving to fight for something bigger than themselves, and they find themselves in such a situation where they're getting brought down by that very thing they're fighting for. It's creating a mental health crisis that we don't even know what to do with. No one knows how to go about it. When you join the military at 19, let's say after 9/11, now after knowing everything we know about it, you join the military after 9/11, you go overseas, you touch down overseas, and you look around you, you got clay boxes to the left, clay boxes to the right. These are what these people are living in. And you see the humanity just being shred from the civilization, just completely torn apart. And you think, what's going on here? And sure enough, it's America. America's what's going on there. For a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, 18-year-old, all these young people going over there to fight for their country and then realizing their country's doing all of this for what? It's destroying our youth. The young men that we need fighting for us. What are we going to do without the young men fighting for us? Every civilization, the young men has fight for us. It is destroying us, and we don't know what to do about it. We don't know where to look. We don't know who to talk to because we don't think we can talk to anyone. The government's simply got to get better. That's all I got to say. Simply get better and get out of here. That's my opinion. To see people like this completely losing their lives, living off of the federal pension that they're working towards, they're living off of their future retirement, their Roth IRAs that they've been putting into for retirement. So now what happens? Even if this gets solved, now that man's left with no retirement. Now what's he working off of? It's brutal what's going on. This is just the FBI. So I implore y'all to take a look at what's going on. Take a look at these testimonies. It will touch your heart. You will not know what to do with the information. It will blow your mind up. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, baby. Episode 1 of Let Me Tell You Something. I look forward to see you guys a lot more. I'm going to start streaming a lot more. I think Tuesday nights. We'll see. Whenever I get a story like this, I really want to touch on it and really want to talk about it because I think even being in front of the House, the independent media is not sharing enough about the veterans. And then I think it's because there's not enough veterans in independent media. If you look at Patrick McDavid, I was just watching that. It's actually my second tab. He's got Tulsi Gabbard on today or yesterday, whenever it was. Veteran talking to an enlisted. That's what we need. But I've watched for about an hour and they don't talk about the veteran mental health crisis. And it's just something that's tearing us apart. It really is. I don't know who else you'd rather have by your side than someone that's been overseas and seen all the horrible things there is to see and is still alive on the other side, breathing and on your team. Who else do you want other than that warrior. You want more of those warriors in our civilization, right? You want more of those warriors. Let's help them. Let's help them become warriors, help them stay warriors. Because what happens is we come home, we get out of the military, and our warrior spirit completely dies out because we don't know what to do next and we feel so betrayed. That's all I gotta say. I'll see y'all next time.